The best music for hard-working people. Get the job done with Radio.
And now your featured presentation.
Hey there, rockers! Welcome to Bands, the Good, Bad, and the Ugly with Dr. Dog on the show where we get real about the ups and downs of band life. Your host, Dr. Dog, is locked and loaded. So let's do this.
Come a little closer, I need to tell you about aliens. They're here and over there and everywhere that you could ever have imagined. Watch a little closer, you may finally see what I am saying. The painful truth is not unusual, but you will find it frustrating. Please let me edify before you glorify yourself as dignified, thinking you're a good guy. You're being sold a lie. Your good sense is awry. How that should not imply the need to falsify. I've heard it all before and I hate the hate from which they're clinging. Those fascists, bigots, I swear. These contradictions are mine or yours. Lies are concerning. It's not enough to claim ignorance. Sense undiscerning. These contradictions are mine or yours. It's your hate we are fighting. It's not enough to claim ignorance. If you have white skin, don't need it's the right skin. Don't need to highlight skin.
Ladies and gentlemen, this great meeting is gathered here tonight to hear the policy and faith of fascism. In this country, in 15 or 20 years' time, the black man will have the whip hand over the white man.
The British people deserve to know which party is serious about stopping the invasion of our southern coast and which party is not. These contradictions are mine or yours.
Lies are concerning.
It's not enough to claim ignorance.
Sense undiscerning.
These contradictions are mine or yours.
Hate we are fighting.
It's not enough to claim ignorance.
If you have one skin, no need to skin. No need to highlight skin.
The one and only Dr. Dog here, welcoming you to Bands, the good, bad, and the ugly, bringing you the ins and outs, ups and downs of band life. So let's get to it. Let's rock and roll. Rock and roll. Rock and roll.
The song you just heard was Aliens by the great Lesley Band. And the Doc's guests are Freddie, Ryan, and Alfie from the great Lesley Band. Great track, guys. How you guys doing tonight?
Yeah, very good, very good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, guys. Doctor's always trying to do great. So
I'm gonna say I'm very hungover, but
well, you know what? Not everybody in here is doing great. So Ryan is not feeling well with that nasty, you know what, COVID shit.
Yeah,
And so
going back to 2020.
Yeah,
Feeling 2020 vibes up in here.
that's not good. That's not good. So, all you listeners out there in the doctor, we're going to send a lot of healing prayers and good thoughts to Ryan to get off that nasty shit, because it could be really bad sometimes. So guys, tell the doctor and the listeners a little bit about yourselves and the Great Lesley Band and what you're up to, and let it rip.
Okay, so I joined the Great Lesley about 2 years ago. They've been going for about a year before that. Freddie joined shortly after. The band was already, the wheels were in motion, but it was sort of just after COVID. So I guess there wasn't so much that could be done. And I guess it was at a point where it was really just kind of starting fresh again from COVID. So I joined as the bass player and also do backing vocals as well as a lot of the production work. Freddie, you go.
Well, I'm the guitarist. We all sing, and Ryan who's on here as well, is the drummer, and our lead singer Ollie. He's not here today, unfortunately. But yeah, the band is growing. In one word, growth. We've recently recorded at Abbey Road. We recorded a live album, which was probably the biggest achievement of this band. And we've got a few gigs coming up. One big one in London, which will be our biggest headline show on the 1st of December. So yeah, it's going really well. We just released an EP as well, which is called 21st Century Problems, of which you just heard Aliens. So everything's going pretty well, yeah. Yeah,
that Aliens is a great track, guys. That really is. And so how did it feel to record at Abbey Road?
No, it's unbelievable.
Hell of an experience. We were in Studio 2, which is, where all the greats have called home on many occasions. It was just amazing. It was very, very inspiring. I mean, we essentially wrote the entire EP, 21st Century Problems, the sort of second day we had at the studio. So we had one day full recording with a film crew and everything for this live album. And then the second day we were just left on our own in the studio to kind of do what we wanted. That's where we essentially wrote that EP. We didn't record it there, unfortunately, but it was written at Abbey Road.
That's cool.
But yeah, hell of an experience. Amazing place. I think all of us, it was our first time doing anything there.
That's phenomenal, guys. I mean, it's great just being in the recording studio, but being in a studio like that is a dream, I think, of a lot of musicians and artists. So, Doctor gives you thumbs up. That's phenomenal, guys. So, who came up with the name, and what's behind the name, and I think a lot of listeners and other artists like to know that. I do, and sometimes it's like it was on a sheet of about 10 names, and we just picked this one, or there's a lot behind it that only the band knows.
So yeah, the Great Lesley is a character in a film called The Great Race, and it's, I don't know if you know it, it's got Tony Curtis in it.
Yes.
Are you familiar? Dr.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, The Great Race. So The Great Race, the character in it is the Great Lesley, and the car is what was it? Lesley Special. The Lesley Special. But yeah, that's where it's from. It's not that cryptic, really. But it's just a film that is a classic film, and we came up with about 200 names actually when we were coming up with band names before these chaps joined, and then it sort of got narrowed down until we decided on one, and that was the one that stuck.
Well, see, that's my point, is that until you said that about the Great Race, I would have not connected it together. I wouldn't have. And I think a lot of listeners out there, especially the younger generation that's listening, they would have never gotten it, period.
Oh, no, totally. The film's 1965, so
yeah.
you got to be of a certain generation to know of it.
No.
or have watched it as a kid at Christmas type thing, you know.
Right. Well, I was still little at that time, so I wasn't that old.
No,
So
you
if I
can't
was,
tell behind your mask.
well, that's good. That's a good thing. You don't really want to see behind my mask, but no, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. But no, see, that's things like I like to know, and sometimes I'll go off course a little bit on my questions, just because when I ask you something and you answer, and it just pings another thing in my head.
Yeah.
So that's just great to know, and I know the listeners really appreciate that too. So, all right, guys, we're going to hit down to question time, okay? And all musicians and artists that have been on the road and that they tour have played, venues that were, let's say the stage was like set up for 2 people. That's about as big as it was. So, and all bands have faced that, where you're cramming 4 into a 2-person space with a ton of equipment. So tell us about the time that's happened to you, the venue, the event, et cetera, guys.
I mean, we've played plenty of small stages, but do you guys remember that one we did? It was in Shoreditch. I think it was the Strong Room Bar, where the stage was tiny. And it was
wide. It had no depth to it, so it had a lot of width.
Yeah.
Quite a big venue. Once you got the drum kit and the amps, there's about 2 to 3 feet for you to actually stand on, so you can't do much without falling off the stage. And it was basically made of plywood, so if you jumped, everything would bounce. So the drum kit.
Yeah. And I'd be like, guys, stop. It's going to fly off the stage.
They put the amps on chairs right behind us on the stage.
Yeah.
And when, you haven't seen this perform, Doc, but there's a lot of jumping. It is only jumping, really. And the amps kept falling off those chairs. And the sound guy, he was not very happy with us. Like, he would go through the wedges and he would go, "Can you please stop jumping? Like, you're breaking all the amps." But yeah, it kept happening. There's nothing we could do.
There was one gig before you guys joined where it was like the drum kit had to go behind like this huge pillar. And so I was literally just staring at this pillar the whole gig. I can't remember what venue it was, but like the other 3 were like in the bit on the stage, and I was literally in this front of this like 0.5 meter wide pillar, and I was like, it was ridiculous. I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere. It was so stupid though. Oh my God.
Well, that's what happens to us percussionists or drummers. We get stuck in the back somewhere or off to the side. So, believe me, I stared at a lot of things. Maybe not pillars, but I stared at a lot of shit. So, what do you guys, when your amps are falling off the chairs and this becomes to another question and wasn't really even on my list. So that can turn into one of the disastrous moments that a band can face. No.
Yeah, they weren't our amps.
No, it was a venue dance.
Yeah.
That's why the sound engineer was so pissed off.
He's not happy. So I'm sure we destroyed amps worth a couple of grand that night.
So do I take it that
they were fees? It was fine.
You walked out with no money that night? Do I take it that way, or were you guys still paid?
It was fine.
Yeah, nothing. They were still usable. They weren't valve amps.
No, they were
smashed.
That's a good thing. That's a really good thing. Tell us a little bit about any upcoming events, any new releases, any new gig places that you're going to be playing at that some of our listeners can come and check you out, because your music is just great. So what's happening right now? What do you see in the future? What's being released? Where are you playing?
Okay, so we're going to go and start recording in November. So that's going to be a new batch of tracks. First single is going to be released probably around January. And then gig-wise, we're really just pushing for this show at Moth Club in London. So that's our kind of big headline show to end the year. I don't think we're playing anywhere prior to that. If any gigs pop up, we'll be sure to let our listeners and fans and whoever else know. We've got the release of our Abbey Road vinyl. So the Live at Abbey Road, Studio 2. I think we've got to call it Live at Studio 2 because Abbey Road didn't like us using the words Abbey Road. And we could have got in trouble for that. So
a little bit.
Yeah. So our Studio 2 album is going to be out, as well as on Spotify, going to be on vinyl. And maybe CD. We're getting CDs or just vinyls?
We are going to get CDs, yeah.
I was going to say the Doctor plays vinyl. I play vinyl. So, guys, think of the Doctor. Send me one of your vinyls.
We ship worldwide. That won't be a problem.
Here's the great Lesley Band with Burn Me and Drown Me. Awesome song. Doc likes that one a lot. So
yeah, I liked your intros.
Yes. You know, you guys put out some really good music, guys. I mean, some really good tracks, and you know, sometimes.
But you like them.
Oh, I do, and I listen to all my artists that I'm interviewing well before we even do an interview, because you know, I want to keep the integrity of the show to great artists, great music, bands that will be legends and bands that are legends, because I think you guys have a lot to offer to the bands coming up and the bands trying to get music out. And you're definitely a light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of people, because they don't understand a lot of things. So what do you find, and I think, Ryan, this will kind of start you off, and then Freddie and Alfie can join in. But you know, how many different ways have you seen your life transformed, your music changed, and the ways you guys have built your brand and your identity over the time span, whether you have been together the whole time you guys have been playing? And I think sometimes this turns out to be a individual question for each of you, but sometimes it can affect your life in a lot of ways, especially if you have a family, especially if you have kids. Most artists that I know nowadays have to have another job. It's hard to devote 100% to just music. So it does shape us and put us down different paths, different forks in the road. So tell us how that's affected you guys.
Can you distill the question again for me? Sorry, it's such a long question. Can you distill it a bit?
Oh shit, Ryan, you're gonna make me do this all over again? What the hell, dude? No. So basically, in your career, okay, I'll make it real short for you.
Yeah. Can shorten it a bit. It's such a long.
Well, see, now you're going to get me in trouble because Magpie tells me not to fucking talk at all. So just to listen and shake my head up and down. But I can't do that, So Magpie, if you're looking at which you will be here, that's for you. But in a musician's and in a band's career and through the span of beginning to where you guys are now, the band life, the recording, the being on the road, the critics, good or bad, it transforms us. It transforms our lives in many different ways, and especially if you have family. So question being is, how has that affected your lives? How has it transformed you as a musician and your music?
Well, I don't talk to my family anymore.
Okay, well, we'll just kick that one out the door there.
Yeah, let's just leave that one to the side. I mean, it's it's got kind of where to start with that question, because it's such a progressive thing. But I mean, as a 36-year-old guy now, I can tell you that it's very hard to be in a band and to also worry about having money to pay rent, to if the band doesn't work out, what am I going to do for a career? There's so many facets to life without just being in a band. So it is a scary thing, really. And I mean, the only thing that's that really warped my life is that I just carry on doing it. I keep going, despite all of those worries, and I keep doing what I like doing, and if I didn't, I'm pretty sure I'd be unhappy. It's a very tough question, because like I said, it's such an ongoing long thing, really. Being 36, I've been doing it, been in bands since I was 18, so I've really been trying for a couple of decades nearly. So it's yeah, does that answer that question? I think it does.
No, you did. But see, the reason you are still trying is because music is that big of a part of your life, where without it, I don't think, true artists and musicians would exist very long, because that's such a big part of their life. So you definitely answered the question.
Great.
Perfectly so. So thank you for that, Ryan. So Freddie, kick the ball.
Well, for me, it's because this is the first band that is, where I see the potential of, kicking off and actually being financially and commercially sustainable as well. I must say that I'm only in 2 years, so in a very different position. Also, I must point out that I'm significantly younger than Ryan. It's just very different for me. I've just finished my my degree from uni. So if this whole thing doesn't work out, I just find a job and do that instead. But what's the point? Because the music's the passion. So I'm going to do everything I can to chase it as long as I can. And like I said, I'm in a completely different position. And for me, it's less risk. It's just basically it's no risk for me at this stage. So yeah. Alfie, what do you have to say?
Well, that's the thing. There've been various points of actually wanting to just give up on the band situation. I've been in and out of bands all of my life. I've reached various points of sort of being on the cusp of making it big, and then something's always kind of torn it down. But even when I've decided I'm not going to do it anymore, I'm going to focus on different areas, just focus on music production, focus on being a studio jockey or whatever. It's just this need. I need to be in a band. I need to be performing live. I can't live without that. So it just, it brings me happiness. And now, for the most part, I'm in a band that's pretty stable with some fairly decent guys. You're right. Yeah, that's the thing. It just brings me joy. It brings me happiness. Love touring. Love being on the road. Just love gigging. Just love being on stage. I guess I'm a sort of I don't know. I feel like without sounding too lame, I come alive.
Well, you said the magic words all the way through there, Alfie. I mean, when you guys are together and you're on the stage and you're playing, that plugs in an energy that most will never, ever, ever feel and know. The high that you get from that is sometimes just undescribable. And, my thought process through my career has always been, I love playing. Okay. Would it be great to make it really big in the mainstream? Yeah, it'd be phenomenal. With all the dreams and thoughts we've ever had about being in a band, on a label, touring, all this other come true, hell yeah. But in the end, it's all about the passion you have for the music you play, and it should be nothing more. Because everything will fall in line if you follow that. If you go after that golden ring, you're going to be trying to grab it for a very, very long time. So, you be happy. I mean, when I get off my kit, and Ryan can probably definitely relate to this, and well, all of you guys can with your instruments and your singing and just playing. But when I get off my kit, it's like, and I play a lot, every night. It's just undescribable how I feel. And I think that just comes from the inner love of music that I have, and just saying I'm just blessed that I can still play and am playing, whether we record or not, whether I tour or not, whether anything or not, I still can play and just get a kick out of it. So that separates a lot of great musicians from good musicians, and you guys are great musicians. And here's my left eye from the great Lesley Band.
It's gone too far now, guys, anymore, and I think I will cry. But only from my left eye, which will drench us like a flood from the sky. The jack boots and white hole are never off the throats of the poor. All those populist whores say love me and then leave us ignored. Whoa, let's go. Why should I wait? I'm just getting by. Stop the show. Anarchy in the face of their lies. I'm sick and tired of no caring or feeling, and my despise comes from their constant deceiving. And in the words, it's contempt for the grieving of all of those I've seen or eaten or eaten. It's gone too far now, girls. Give them an inch, they will own the world. Don't rely on morals, they are devoid of them, I'm sure you can tell. They will come in disguise to steal all that you prize. First they will take your rights, and then they'll take your life. Whoa, let's go. Why should I wait? I'm just getting by. Don't stop the show. Anarchy in the face of their lies. I'm sick and tired of no caring or feeling, and my despise comes from their constant deceiving. And in the words, it's contempt for the grieving of all of those lost to not eating or eating. Can't take much anymore. That time is now over. Let
country for a new Prime Minister to lead that effort.
And in this home of democracy, we are incapable of honouring a democratic mandate. I will take personal responsibility. Never mind the backstop, the buck stops here.
But some mistakes were made.
That is a disgrace.
I'm sick and tired of not caring I'm feeling, and my despise comes from their constant deceiving. Their fucking words full of contempt for the grieving of all of those lost to no hating or reason. Can't take this anymore. The time is now over. Let us drop in the door. Everything I done for.
Hasta la vista, baby.
You know, I really believe it does come from the heart, guys. And I think just by the interview so far, going into it, that you guys have that passion. And, you know, keep that passion burning with not chasing the rainbow, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Just keep doing what you're doing, because it's phenomenal. You know, don't change your course.
Very kind.
Well, it's true. And if you hear my interviews, I'm going to say the same thing I do in a lot of them, is that, you know, I don't ever say anything I don't want to say. And if you guys weren't really good and I really didn't say what I mean, I'd just say, hey, that was good, guys, and go on. Okay. But, you know, credit isn't given as much as it's due. And a lot of bands say, well, that's okay, you know, but the doctor likes to give that credit when it's due, because it's deserved. And it doesn't always happen for bands out there. You don't get that. And you're busting your asses and you're putting out phenomenal music. And I just want, you know, the listeners to know that you guys are a great band. So far, you guys have everything going for you as far as our interview and what we're saying, because it all ties into the good and the bad of band life, and ultimately the ugly. So, but, you know, you just keep rocking. So what is the biggest misconception that people have of being a musician, an artist, a band?
The money.
Exactly. The costs involved, you know, what it takes to actually record, release, you know, merch, everything like that, everything from, you know, website. It's a business. That's the thing. When you're an independent artist, it's purely a business, really. Well, not purely, but, you know, that's the thing. It is, you know, you don't have the luxury of a label doing all of your admin and doing all of your, you know, your boring behind the scenes work. It's all us, and we've all got to figure out ways to do that properly and make it sustainable.
No, you do. And a lot of bands don't understand that. A lot of bands are getting wrapped up into this, these, I call them fly-by-night scams. Not all of them, so nobody get pissed out there. But these promotional companies that come on and want to promote you for, you know, big bucks, and you end up, hey, I'm going to put you on 1,000 different platforms. Again, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. That's great, man. Everybody's all psyched. You get maybe played once.
We're totally with you on this.
And
I mean,
you know, and you guys have probably have fallen into that at one point. I know I did as promoting our band. And so it's,
do you know what? With this band, we actually, sorry to interrupt you, but it's like I've been through it before with other bands, and this band, we do so much of our own advertising and our own PR, that when it came to actually interviewing other PR companies to see if they could help any more, it became so apparent how many out there are just basically CCing a bunch of emails for £1,000. You know, it is really hard for musicians to get out there, and
yes.
There is, like you say, there are so many people out there who can just basically say to, oh, I'm now a band promoter person and I'm going to have this business. And, you know, basically there's no real way of knowing how legitimate these people are, because they, you know, they're never going to share their contact list with you, because that's their business, which also makes it sort of dangerous, because it makes it easy for them to do it illegitimately.
Dude, I never got a contact list when I was promoting shit. What's a contact list? You know, they say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You give them the money, and that's it. And so, but again, it's that I guess misconception on the band and the artists that are saying, I'm going to do this and not check it out, because you get really pumped up. And it's like, oh man, we're going to be spread out all over the internet, all over the worldwide. And you get caught up in words, but you don't sit back and think until you realize, we were just scammed. Or, they'll come out and do these companies, and then they kind of put you, like they kind of roadblock you for a little bit, or give you excuses. Oh yeah, we're, this and this and this and this. And then they just disappear. And so all the money's gone. They didn't do anything. So that's becoming more and more prevalent out there.
Our advice would be to do it yourselves.
Yes, no, 100%. But a lot of bands are either too lazy, they don't know how. And so, we're trying to get that word out. So listeners and new artists and bands, listen to what they're saying. Don't trust the snakes that are in the grass, and if you find one, cut its head off. And, and then you look at them and say, who asked you? Dropping the song from the Great Lesley Band. So where do you guys find your, well, let me ask you this. Who writes the songs?
We all do.
Good. That's good to hear. So where do you pull your creativity from? And let me ask you one more thing. Where do you pull your creativity from? And when you bring in a song and you're forming it, does everybody put in their opinion, their advice, their whatever into the song to make a complete one.
Yeah, definitely. So, it might be that someone comes up with an initial idea or a semi-complete song to an extent, and we all add our influence. We all have different style. We all have a very different style. We have different tastes in music. We all probably write independently very differently. Together we're able to essentially Leslify the sound. As I like to say now, that's my new thing apparently. But yeah, we all have different strengths, and I think together we form the sound that is the Great Lesley.
Well, it's like a puzzle. If all the pieces look the same, and you put it together, it would just look the same. But when you have 4 or 5 different pieces to come together that form a picture, and in your case, the band, that's phenomenal because you have different genres and different thoughts and different ideas, and all put together, which can make a song from a good song to a great song to a phenomenal song. So that's great to hear. I mean, and I asked that question because some bands face that trial and tribulation of, well, I wrote it, I sing it, I play guitar on it, I do this, I do that, and they don't try to take the advice from the other band members to make the song better than it is. So that can create a lot of conflict, I find.
At the end of the day, it has got to be a collaborative effort.
Yes.
It's all well good for one person to be kind of, I know a lot of bands do work in a way that someone is the lead and the writer and this and that. To be honest, from experience, that always ends up creating an absolute mess, especially when everyone's fighting over credits, when there's not even anything coming in. It's like, well, however much percentage of zero is going to be zero. But it still happens. My previous band, it was a nightmare because one in particular had to try and force himself to be like the sort of the doer of everything, even if he wasn't, but he was so fixated on the whole credit and all this crap. And that just creates internal drama for no reason. You're not even anywhere yet. So why talk about this now? Talk about it when we're making some money.
Right.
But with this band, the thing is, we would never release anything we don't all support. We split the royalties 25% each, and therefore we have 25% say each. And if someone's not happy, we're not going to release it because what's the point?
I agree.
Guys, I'm really going to have to leave. I've got to shoot off. I wasn't expecting this to go on until after 8. But dog to dog, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having us. I'm sorry to have to ditch you.
You know what, Alfie? We understand. Doc understands. You take it easy. I'm happy to have been able to talk to you as long as I did. And we'll talk again, guys. I mean, or at least Alfie, we'll all get together and talk again. Doc promised you to do that, buddy. So you take care of yourself.
Yep, you too. Honestly, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
So much. You're very welcome.
Cheers. Take care.
So, we talked about unspoken challenges in the industry and for a band, whether recording, releasing, on tour. And we touched a little bit on misconception. And to me, misconception, when you guys meet somebody and you're talking to them and they're getting to know you and they find out, you're in a band and, some sign with the label, some don't need to because they're independent, they're doing great. The reaction a lot is, man, you guys are making money. You're going to be living in a mansion. You're going to be driving, very expensive cars. But in reality, there's a long road. Even if you get close to that point, some do, some don't. So, the unspoken challenges, people have no idea what they are because TV shows, movies glorify what? Drugs, sex, and rock and roll, which is what rock and roll is. But they don't ever show the blood, sweat, and tears that you guys put in to get to that point, even if you do. So just give us a little bit of an idea of what you believe unspoken challenges that the average listener doesn't know about, and maybe the new bands coming up have no idea about?
Well, I think I can only speak for myself. This is only my personal opinion, but I think what's really dangerous is you changing your music because other people would influence you and say, if you do this, if you change your sound just a little bit, or if you make the song shorter, make it 3.5 minutes or whatever, because it's going to be more successful or whatever that means. I think that's a dangerous game to play because, again, when we talk about passion and when you play your music and when you write your music, you're not doing it for anyone else, you're doing it for yourself. And the moment you start listening to others and change it to something you didn't want initially, that's when it loses its purpose, when it loses its, how do you say, I don't know the word, but in the end, there will be no success for you. Even if you get very successful with those songs, I think you will always be missing something from that. So I think that's something you just need to be aware for any emerging artists listening. Just do what you love, write the music you want, and don't listen to anyone. And that's all the value. That's all the value of your music is that you like it. That's all you need. But again, that's just me.
No, that's great advice, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, basically what Fred said, it's all about doing it for you. You're not doing it for anyone else, because if you did, you won't enjoy it as much, and it becomes a bit of a chore. I find it needs to be from you to you, and that's what people connect with because it's unique, because it's for you, from you.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that's important. Like in our music, like I've come from listening to like a lot of punk and like metal bands, a lot of 70s prog rock. So I play drums really hard, but then we're playing these sort of indie songs, but I've kept the drumming style the same. I play really hard. And that's what makes it unique for us, because I'm playing what I play. I'm not changing to sound indie. I'm playing how I play drums. Fred does the same. He likes a lot of classic rock, so his playing is very much based on that, and his sound is based on that. And it's what makes it unique. For Alfie, who just left, he loves like Chili Peppers and funk, and if you listen to all of our bass lines, that's exactly what you hear is this funky, nicely high compressed bass tone. But yeah, that's what makes us unique, and is to be yourself and do it for you and do what you want to do in it. And that's the best advice you can have, really, I think.
No, that's the best advice that I could even think about hearing. So, you hit it right on the head about that, Ryan. And people tend to want to change to be what's being played now, and they give up that root of their own music to try to fit in, which they never will anyway. And so you stay true to your music, you stay true to your roots. And with you guys, see, that's the unique thing about you guys, is that you bring in different sounds. I'm not going to classify it, but different sounds to the music. It's not like what's maybe to be expected, whether it's the drums, whether it's the bass, whether it's the vocals, whether it's the guitar. And that's the coolest thing, is it's a different blend. I don't know if you guys know of Moke Morris with Underskin. This guy plays bass, but he's got his bass rigged up to play guitar. It's two guys. That's the band. And you got to look them up, Underskin. And you'll see what I'm saying about how they have changed music to fit them instead of the reversal. And you guys are doing the same thing. Okay. So awesome on that. And I just wanted to say that, and because, I'm a little anxious right now. So we're going to go into Anxious Tendencies by the great Lesley Band.
I see so. And it shows when I'm shaking and I'm breaking at the thought of speaking to new people. The question is the darkness that has often drowned the light in my heart. On top of that, I don't know if all of this is real or not. Still, I don't even know.
Great track, guys. Great track. So, some have been in different bands. Some have stayed in the Great Leslie. And I think all musicians that have toured, played, recorded, whatever the case be, has experienced the drugs, sex, and rock and roll lifestyle in one way or another, whether they participated, sat on the sidelines, was against it, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to throw kind of a 3-part mini question out here to you. Addiction in the music industry and in band life sometimes rages, and we've lost a lot of phenomenal artists to that. So and again, how you answer, guys, is entirely up to you. But, have you, someone else that you know, maybe played with, family member, friend, you don't have to do any names, any association with you, but has fallen down that rabbit hole in the addiction aspect of the rock and roll lifestyle?
I mean, I've had at university, especially, there was some friend. There was this one person I can think of in particular. I won't say his name, but he was probably the best bass player I've ever met. I mean, he was incredible. He had this fretless bass and he could play like crazy. It was, he was insane. Well, he is insane. But he took too much acid, and basically over a course of a few months of doing it, I think that he went into a dark place, and he never really recovered from that. He's never been like the same. He's got mental health problems, and he could never sort of be a functioning human anymore, really, if you know what I mean. Well, he's a functioning human, but he couldn't be in a touring band or dedicate time to it because he's really got to keep on top of his mental health. So I think it's really sad
yes,
to watch your friends especially go through that stuff. It's a very difficult subject, I think, for any musician, really, because like you say, it is rife in drugs and music kind of go hand in hand, especially like weed, stuff like that. Yep. But yeah, I mean, it's always slippery slope, isn't it? I mean, and the problem is, like, we sort of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You mostly as a musician, you're trying to work a full-time job as well most of the time, and then if you fall down that path, it can go badly quite quickly. All your money goes on it, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I know anyone listening who's our fans, if you do have those problems, obviously we'd love you to get help. But yes. Amen. It's a difficult one.
It is. Freddie?
I mean, we're obviously friends with a lot of bands, especially here in London, because we have to be, to get gigs and everything. We need to support each other as much as we can. But there's a few stories I know that of guys who were just looking for some relief and to trying to get rid of the stress, because being an independent artist is stressful. You don't have the money, you don't have the time, and you need to go to work, and you've got gigs and you work nights and all that. So that puts a lot of pressure on some people, and unfortunately, it's just too easy to get drugs as well. It's just too easy. And I know a few guys who had to go through rehab multiple times, and it's shocking because they're my age. I'm 25. I'm turning 26 on Monday, but that's not a good age, to be addicted to drugs. Well, there's no good age for that, but it's shocking, I must say. It really is, and it's another thing that's not presented to the people when you watch the Netflix documentary on Keith Richards. It's all about the good times, and drugs for partying, stuff like that, have a joint every once in a while. That's how it's presented, but it's bad. It's really bad. And people don't talk about it. So yeah, like Ryan said, if anyone's listening, feeling stressed out, talk to someone, talk to us. You can always message us on Instagram. You can find us there and speak to us, but just stay away from that stuff because it's not helping you in any way.
No. And Keith Richards, I don't know how many complete blood transfusions he had to clean his body out. I don't know, I guess he's the epitome of rock and roll, because he should have been dead a long, long time ago. And
he's still outlive us all.
I'll tell you what, he's phenomenal, and I'm glad he's still around. But, listeners out there, listen to what Ryan and Freddie have said, because I believe drug addiction starts from, I don't want to say mental health, but issues in our brains, that something has gone wrong in our life, something we're fighting, something we're sad about, something that we can't cope with. So you find something that makes you feel good, you keep doing it, and like Ryan said, you spend all your money, and eventually you're on the street doing this and this and this. But ultimately, if you find yourself not feeling like yourself and feeling like maybe you've gotten down that little hole a little bit too far, please reach out. The doctor's here. You've got the great Lesley Band just said, basically reach out to us, get help. You've got to get help. You've got to talk to somebody. You're not sick. It's nothing's wrong with you. You just have to get back on track. And there's so many people out there willing to help you. So thank you guys for that, because, that's not talked about a lot. And, but I look at it in my generation and going through music, we've lost a lot of great musicians and great music that will never be heard again, due to that fact. And it wasn't, they were just drug addicts. No, you never know what's going in the mind of a musician. Their creativity, the stress, the things that they have going on in their own minds, let alone surrounding them. And like, both of you guys have said, when you're touring and playing, you don't really have to look for anything. It's there. People are giving it to you, whatever the case may be. You don't get away from it. It's just your choice whether to do it or not, So guys, think about that. Just stay away from it. If you need help, please get help. So that's the thing. And just, I'm going to backpedal real quick, because I think a lot of people have a misconception about something else too. Indie artist, indie music, totally different. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got indie music, okay, guys, which is a form of rock music, indie music. And the other indie is a independent artist, meaning that they're not signed up to a label. And they're doing exactly what the great Lesley Band is doing, which is promoting themselves, which they're doing a phenomenal job of, got phenomenal following, phenomenal music. So that in itself, again, is a lesson for all the new artists out there, is do it yourself. Keep your music close and promote it yourself, and be careful who you're promoting it to. And don't ever give your rights away, ever, on your music. So we come to a question that I like to ask, and this down to the last question, guys. And again, maybe Ryan, I know, and Freddie and Alfie could have definitely, guys. This is a good question that I want to know. in your music journey, short or long, has there ever been just to a moment where you just want to say, fuck, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I quit. It's not worth it. It's just stressful. It's just shit right now. I'm done. And walk away.
I've got to shoot off after I've answered this question. I'm really sorry, Dr. Dog. It's just that I've actually got to do some work online. I've got a stream and I'm supposed to be there now, but I'll answer this question and I'll leave you, love you and leave you. I mean, the thing is I have, and the problem is when you do that is that you regret it because then you're not doing anything. You know, I've quit a band and then I've just been doing nothing, and I've, you know, been bandless for a couple of years, and then you just don't, you lose it. You know, it's like, especially with drums, you can't just go out and you can't just practice in your house most of the time. It's a very loud instrument. You know, it takes a lot of effort, especially when you live in a city like London. Like, you have to go hire somewhere to play drums. So it's, you know, it's a very expensive hobby. And, you know, without having a band, I don't have the luxury of being able to play drums as regularly as I do, essentially.
Right.
And like, we, you know, we're kind of going back on what we've talked about earlier, but it is a therapy. You know, it's like a drug. It's a therapy. It helps you, you know, get out anger, get out frustration. I feel good. You know, it's a terrible thing, really. But yeah, basically, I have wanted to quit, and I have quit, and I know that now I would never quit again because it's just something that you can't quit. Because if you do, you'll regret it, and I don't want to regret it.
No, and that's perfect. That's perfect.
Sorry, I've got to shoot, but thank you so much for having us, Dr. Doug.
You know what, Ryan? Thank you so much. I hope you feel better. We're getting ready to wrap up anyway. We got. Yeah. I'm going to put out one more disc on you guys, and one more track because it's awesome. And then Freddie's going to tell us how to get a hold of you guys, how to get your stuff.
Awesome,
and
absolutely.
We'll wrap it up, Ryan. So feel better, buddy. Take care of yourself.
Cheers, Dr. Doug.
And we'll be getting back together again soon. Take care, my friend.
See you again, Dr. Dog Senior in the background as well.
That's right. See, you hear that, Dad? See, you can't wave. What the hell?
Right, see you, chaps.
Take care, guys. Take care, buddy. All right, Freddie. So here we go. Give the listeners the information to where they can find your music, find your videos, find your list of performances that are coming up, your gigs, any merchandise that you have. Tell us, where can we go find that at?
Yeah, of course. So, first of all, the website is probably the best place to go, which is www.thegreatlesley.band.com. And from there, you can go to our streaming platforms, you know, whatever streaming platform you use, we're everywhere. We're Spotify, you know, Deezer, Apple Music, Amazon, you name it. And of course, we're on YouTube, where you can find all our music videos as well. We just released 2 for the latest EP, one of which we filmed in front of Westminster and Downing Street. That was quite funny. You know, playing our music there really loudly, pissing off the politicians. But then, of course, we're on social media. The tag there is at The Great Lesley Band, except for Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, where it's just The Great Lesley _. And we're everywhere. Just type in The Great Lesley. You can even type it into Google. We will pop up there. And in terms of merchandise, if I may just say, we just received our first vinyl from the first EP we released, which is called The End and the Beginning. Awesome. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's all made in the UK. We ship worldwide. So you can go to the website, just go to the merch section and get yours there. We can sign it for you. It's the same price.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You hear that? Same price, guys. Signed,
absolutely,
autographed.
absolutely.
Get it now, because when they become mainstream and famous, you could say, I have.
Exactly. That was the plan. That was the whole plan.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're everywhere. You can't miss us.
Can't Touch by the Great Lesley Band.
everything and everyone that you adore. It's the situation that turns your head around. It's the complication that you don't talk about. It's the main reason that makes you wanna get out. It's another reminder that you're really free. What's your name? I can look but I can touch it. What you saying? I can look but I can touch it. When that little itch persists in your thoughts from when their lips touch yours. When the temptation starts to overwhelm you and you lose control. When you pray to your God to give you power of your soul. When you feel a disconnect from your lover and with a stranger you feel home. It's the situation that turns your head around. It's the complication that you don't talk about. It's the main reason that makes you wanna get out. It's another reminder that you're really free. What's your name? I can look but I can touch it. What you saying? I can look but I can touch it. What's your name? I can look but I can touch it. What you saying? I can look but I can touch it. I feel this pressure closing on me. I won't be here in a 1, 2, 3. Pressure closing on me. I won't be here in a 1, 2, 3. I feel this pressure closing on me. I won't be here in a 1, 2, 3. Feel this pressure closing on me. I won't be here in a 1, 2, 3.
Great track. Great track.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Oh, no, my pleasure. Listeners, you heard it. You know how to get a hold of them. Okay? Go check them out. Doc's prescription for you the week and from now on is 3 times daily, guys. Listen to their tunes, man, because they are rocking. They are rocking. Get a chance, check out their videos. I mean, phenomenal. They are, like Freddie says, they do a lot of jumping and it's freaking great music. So Dr. Dog wants to thank Freddie and Ryan and Alfie, which they're both gone, but that's okay because me and Freddie are still here, for joining him today. And I definitely had a great time. I hope you guys did as well. And I want to give a big thanks to Dogbone Studio, MM Radio, Magpie Sally, Matt Rustin, my computer tech that keeps me on the air. And again, to Freddie of the Great Leslie Band for joining him today. You guys take care. The doctor's out. Freddie's out. We'll see you next Friday.
Bands, the good, bad, and the ugly with Dr. Dog. On MMIMM, the show where we get real about the ups and downs of band life.
To infinity and tastiness with MM Radio.